Hello, Gabriela. Can you hear me? Yep. So yeah, that's the new one. Okay. Can you hear me well? Okay, perfectly. Because I have my headsets just in case. But if you're saying that you can hear me well, then it's great. Okay, so yeah, I'll be clicking. Let me just see. Oh, I see that. Did she put it in the PDF? Is there any chance to leave it in the PowerPoint? Because I have some animation, that they pop up step by step. Okay. Ah, oh, okay. Okay, I see. Because the gentleman before, they had kind of animation, or did they just have it on separate slides? Ah, okay, I see. Okay. But mm, okay. I mean, it's not critical, yeah. It's not critical to have animation, but would be nice to have in any case. Okay. Anyway, uh, we can leave it like this. No problem. We can leave it like this. Yeah, it's okay. And I see that the links are not clickable, so I just have to insert them here, right? When I ask, okay, guys, can you please respond to my poll? They cannot click on it. I will just post it. Okay. Okay. Perfect. Thank you very much, Gabriel. I just wanted to make sure that everything works and there are no surprises. Thank you. Then I'll see you in 1.5 hours. Bye bye.
Мы что-то собираемся?
Нет, мы нет, я нет.
Хлебушек, может быть.
Yeah. Hello. Thank you very much. Thank you for joining me this Friday afternoon. Can you hear me all well? Yeah, in case you have any troubles hearing me, then just write it in the chat, okay? So today, yeah, okay, perfect. No comments that nobody can hear me. Perfect. So today I want to speak with you a little bit about different law firms where you can start your legal career. I want to share my experience working in different kinds of law firms and give you some insights, some of my observations. So I was always doing business development and marketing, and I had a chance to look at the lawyers, a little bit from the outside. And I'll be happy to share this experience with you. Just a few words before we start about myself. So I started my career in law firms in Kyiv, Ukraine. I joined back then, the biggest Ukrainian law firm, Magisters. I lived through the merger with Yegorov, Puginsky, Afanasyev and Partners. I'm pretty sure that you know this name. After my career with Magisters, I went to study to Madrid. I did my master in corporate communications. And after Madrid, I was looking for a job in somewhere in Europe, and I came across a very interesting position in Clifford Chance. Of course, I knew about Clifford Chance back from my time at Magisters, and so I joined their business development team and became a project manager. And now I'm based in St. Petersburg, and I'm business development consultant for law firms, for regional, local law firms. And I'm also marketing advisor, Eastern Europe and Central Asia for a business school, place where I did my master. So I would like to have a very quick poll with you, so a very quick survey to understand where your professional interests lie, where you would like to start your legal career. Let me copy this link. I will post it in the chat, and then you can take a second to respond. I'll be a little curious to see. So here we go. Let's see. Where do you want to start your legal career? Of course, this is the question more for current students and fresh graduates. And here we have a few options. A law firm, in-house in a company. Do you want to start your own business? Do you want to join a public or governmental organization? Do you want to become a teacher? Or any other options that you would like to come up with? Okay, let's see if some responded. Oh, I see a lot of people want to join law firms. Very good. Okay, 2 votes so far, but still 3 votes. Perfect. Okay, 1 person wants to become an in-house. Okay, there's 1 future entrepreneur. Very good. Wants to start his or her private practice on business. Anyone else wants to take this poll? Okay, good. 4 people want to join law firms. Okay, great. Then I hope my presentation will be useful for you and interesting. So when you think about law firms, what thing comes to your mind first? Do you think about, luxury offices, corner offices, skyscrapers? Or do you think about, like luxury living that law firm provides you? Or do you think more about big workload, layoffs that they sometimes face during the crisis times? Maybe some of you can just write very quickly in the chat box. What's the first thing that's associated with law firms? Any volunteers? Come on, it's not going to be graded. You can just express your opinion. Okay, often, yeah, open space with many employees. I see. Come on, just feel free to say whatever, even if it's not on the picture, like with paper documents, yeah. But I think we are really moving fast to the digital world, so there won't be too much paper in the future. Anything else? Okay. Okay, if you want to express your opinion later on in the presentation, feel free to do so. Let's speak, what kinds of law firms exist in the world. This is a rough classification. You can always come up with other names, types, and so on, but this is how I actually cluster the law firm world. Irregular working hours. Yeah, Elmira. You probably mean also long hours, taking work home, working the weekends. Okay. So, of course, there's a magic circle. I don't know if you're familiar with this term. We will go back to this term a little later. And there's a silver circle. These are all UK-based law firms. There's Big Law. That's an American term for big elite law firms. The regional law firms who are mostly active in a particular region like Europe or Central Asia. There are countrywide practices, like magisters where I started my career. At first, it was just a Ukrainian law firm. Then it opened offices in Kazakhstan and Belarus, in Moscow, and became a regional law firm. Then there are small law firms, really, working in one city, in one town. There are boutiques who specialize in particular practice areas like tax or dispute resolution, some transactional work. There is a private sector, a private practice, really solo practitioners. And, well, it can be other kinds. It depends how you see this law firm world and how you cluster it. So speaking about a magic circle, this is where I had privilege working before. Magic circle is an informal term, of course. It was coined by Legal Business magazine in the 1990s. Not everyone, I must say, likes this term. So even firms from the magic circle, they don't always like to be referred this way. But the term exists, and it now includes 5 most prestigious London headquartered law firms. It's important to know to say that these are only UK-based law firms, UK headquartered. Of course, they're huge law firms with offices everywhere, but their headquarters in London. Currently, it includes Allen Overy, Clifford Chance, Freshfields, Linklaters, and Slaughter & May. There's ongoing discussion whether Slaughter & May is still part of the magic circle because of the UK domestic focus, but let's leave it to them. So far, they're magic circle. Which firm do you think is the oldest among oldest law firms? Take a second to respond. Allen Overy, Clifford's, Freshfields, Links, or Slaughter & May. Which firm do you think is the oldest? No Googling, please. I'll be just curious to see. Linklaters? Freshfields. Very good, Alena. Yes, right. Exactly, Freshfields, founded in the 18th century. 1749, if I'm not mistaken. So in the 18th century, it was founded and considered the oldest law firm. By the way, they have been the legal advisor to the Bank of England ever since then, since the 18th century. And which of these firms do you think has the largest number of lawyers? So the biggest law firm in terms of the number of lawyers? What do you think? Linklaters? Yeah, exactly, Sofia. Yeah, Clifford Chance, considered the largest law firm in terms of the number of lawyers. It's interesting to say that the most profitable law firms are located in the US, and the largest law firms in terms of the number of employees are located in the UK. So headquartered. It doesn't mean that they have offices only in the UK. They have offices everywhere. These are huge law firms with more than 1,000 lawyers, with big revenues, with very high hourly rates of their lawyers, and with the administrative staff. So business development, human resources, marketing, back office, and so on. So moving on to the magic circle. How was it like to work in the magic circle? So what was my personal experience and the experience of my fellow colleagues working in the magic circle? Of course, because of the scope and size of this firm, it was an amazing international exposure. So you work work with people from different countries. You work on big deals, cross-transactional, cross-national deals. There's of course an element of luxury. So you have great offices, great view. So Clifford Chance was located in the business center of Frankfurt on Mainzer Landstraße, and was sitting in a big skyscraper, with 38 floors. So of course you have great retreats. Everything is top notch. Then there is diversity, which I personally think is a very big advantage. So you meet people from everywhere, you learn different cultures, you learn to understand people of different backgrounds, even pick up some language that your colleagues speak. And there's, of course, intense learning. So you learn nonstop because you have really smart colleagues. You work together with them. They help you to develop. So there's, like nonstop learning every day. Of course, magic circle means a lot of work. So you work long hours, hardly ever. You have a chance to be at 6 p.m. But this is just part of the game. This is how magic circle works. There's a high level of stress, obviously, because you have huge pressure to be very productive and to adhere to the highest level of the firm. There's bureaucracy, absolutely. As always, working in a big company, in any sector, you have to adhere to corporate policies, templates, you have a lengthy decision-making process. You cannot just do something without prior receiving some decision, approval, and so on. So bureaucracy is also an integral part of working in a big company, in a big law firm. So in other countries, here I just, this is what I found on the internet, I must say, different terms that are used in other countries to describe their biggest law firms. In Japan, these are called Big Four law firms. I found it curious because usually in the Western world, Big Four refers to the biggest auditors, or now they even refer to the technological companies, the largest ones. In China, the largest law firms are called Red Circle. This term was coined by the Lawyer magazine quite recently. In Canada, the largest law firms headquartered in Toronto are called Seven Sisters. I found it a very interesting term. And the US, you probably heard this name. It's a white shoe law firms. So these are the oldest law firms. They've been around for more than a century. They represent companies from the 4500. So this is how things are in other countries. And now let's move on to Russia. So when you think about law firms in Russia, let's say Russian law firms, which ones come to your mind first? Just top of mind. Just feel free to write them. Any volunteers? Do you know any Russian law firms? Which ones? EPAM, of course. Anyone else? Pepelayev, yes, of course. Who else? How many Russian law firms do you know? Качкины партнеры. Do you have any students participating in this poll, or do we have only law firm representatives writing their firms' names? No more? Only 3? No way. Dentons, of course. Any other smaller names that you know, maybe a place where you had some internships, or where you want to make an internship? Okay. Do you know which international law firm was the first to open its office in Moscow? Any guess? An international law firm that was the first to open its office in Moscow. Have a guess. I can give you a clue. It was an American law firm. It was not a Magic Circle law firm. It was an American law firm. Back in the 1989. Yeah. Okay, this was Baker McKinsey. Exactly, Lina. Very good. Yeah, it was Baker McKinsey. Yeah, it was Baker's. Perfect. Okay, so speaking about law firms in Russia, there are 2 major rankings that classify and rank the biggest Russian law firms. So there's Forbes, obviously. I here put top 10 according to this ranking. And there's Prava 300, Prava 300, which makes 3 rankings: by revenue, by number of lawyers, and by revenue per lawyer. So as you can see, there are a few names which repeat themselves in every ranking. Actually the same names that you wrote in the chat box. So Igorov, Pepelev Group, and so on. Okay, so as I said, I had the chance of working in a local law firm as well. The local, which became later regional law firm, and there are also big advantages working for a local law firm. What I found was really a great advantage was that local law firms, they're very fast. They develop dynamically. You can make, faster career advancement as an administrative employee. So you can really advance very fast if you work hard, if you show results. And also lawyers have great opportunities to make partners quite fast. So in magic circle law firms, it takes really long usually for lawyers to make partners. And there's a little bit like age sense. You cannot make a partner when you're too young. In local law firms, everything is possible. You have a lot of career opportunities. You can also become a part of the success story. So you can join, a smaller law firm or small law firm, which later on becomes a really successful, expands into different markets. And then you feel yourself like part of this success story. There is less bureaucracy usually because law firms are smaller. The processes are not so rigid, and you actually can be more free, to develop templates, develop presentations. It's not as rigid and strict like in big law firms. Of course, since it's a local law firm, you have people working from the same country, and you have no cultural differences. I already said about faster career advancement. You can also engage into different projects. For example, if you're, as a lawyer, interested in marketing, you can always, engage in some marketing projects. So you can perform more functions, and this gives you more experience, more exposure to different areas. And as a lawyer, you get to work with partners because the teams are smaller, practice areas are smaller, and even as a junior associate or an intern, you still have a chance to work with partners directly. There is also, there's also such a nice mix, of an big international law firm and the local law firm. These are regional law firms, which have many offices. They have international exposure, but they're particularly strong in a particular area. For example, the example I can think of is Grata International. Grata is a strong regional law firm that also, offers you the exposure to international projects, but at the same time has very strong local expertise and local teams. So, yeah, this as far as it regional firms concern. The question is, of course, how to choose the right law firm for you. As you see, there are many different kinds. There are big, smaller law firms, international, domestic. How to actually find the information so that you can make, your decision where you want to study, where you want to start a legal career. Of course, you have to study the firm's website. You have to read through the brochures, any other materials available. I would always advise to follow the firm's pages on social media. Firms are now very active on social media. Back in the day when I was at Clifford's in 2012, it was very uncommon for law firms to have Facebook or Instagram channel. It was even, like bad manners for top law firms, but now it's not anymore, and I'm happy about this. Firms feel free, to express themselves, to post pictures, to give you a feel what they are and what corporate culture they have. So do follow their pages in social media. This is really a great source of additional information. When you read about the law firm, then try to read a little bit between the lines and analyze the tone of voice. Is the firm, do you have a feeling that the firm is more official, formalized, formal, or the tone of voice is more informal, more oriented at young people? Choose, the type that you prefer. Do you want to work in a very formal law firm, then search for the one that also writes formally, that posts only very formal pictures and information on their social media. So always try, to not just to read the words, but also to read between the lines and to analyze this tone of voice. Of course, you have to know about the firm's major clients and their biggest deals. It's not difficult to find out because lawyers are proud of their wins, and you will find this information on their websites, on their social media. I also always advise, young lawyers to ask around, to ask their colleagues, former classmates, their contacts, maybe for some informal information that you can find about law firms, where their friends work, how it's like working in this law firm, and so on. If you get the chance to go to the law firm's office, look around, for the signs again of this corporate culture, because corporate culture is very important. You will spend a lot of time in this team, in this law firm. You have to make sure, that it's something for you, that you like it. So when you're in the office, look how people are dressed. Their dress code, is it again very formal, or is it more relaxed? What's the communication styles? Do they say, like Russian we or they? Do they work as an open space, office space, or do they have offices, cubicles, whatever? This gives you a feel for what the firm is. If you are invited to the interview, then always ask questions. I can't repeat this too often because it's extremely important. When you go to the interview, use this opportunity, usually at the end of the interview, to ask questions. Ask, what you're interested in. Again, you can ask about the corporate culture, you can ask about career advancement, but do use this chance. It's a great chance for you, to get a glimpse of what the firm really is. If you're invited, of course, attend the firm's events. This again will give you an exposure to the people there, whom you can also ask, and with whom you can have a chat about what it's like to work in this law firm. And as always, with all important decisions, you have to listen to your head, but not only your head, but also your heart, because this is an important decision. And as I said, you will have to spend a lot of time with these people. So make sure that it will be pleasant for you. So speaking about this different skills and knowledge, so what you need to get into a top law firm. First, it's a very obvious advice. You have to study hard and smart. You have to focus on these areas which are your strengths. You have to focus on the areas that really interest you, but then make sure that you really study hard in those areas. Because, from my experience, and all lawyers in top law firms with whom I was working, they were really great students back in the day. They all had very good grades. They went on to study for an LLM or master's. So study it is important. I would advise to start with searching for internships early on during your studies. So use every opportunity to go on internship, to learn something in the law firm, to just get your foot inside. It's very useful. English is a must, and now without English, you really cannot get into a big law firm. Or maybe you can get into some, I don't know. All colleagues that I had back in Kiev, in Frankfurt, they all were super fluent in English. That was a must. You have to meet new people. That's very important. And memorize their names. Again, this will give you more exposure to the legal world. It will help you later on in building your career. It's also important, to be curious and open-minded. So you don't just have to be a super expert in law, but also find other areas where you're interested in, because it will help you later on in communicating with clients, in communicating with partners. general knowledge and commercial judgment. That's the next point. They are very important. For a lawyer, it's not just important to know law and to be a good lawyer, but he or she needs a very good commercial judgment to understand the client, to understand that the client's goal is, to be profitable, and the lawyer's goal is to help the client in achieving this. So commercial judgment is extremely important, and you have to develop it. I know, for example, quite a few examples of lawyers who went to do the MBA, additionally to the Master in Law, additionally to LLM. And I think it's a great idea. Some universities offer double programs, like LLM plus MBA. And this is a great mix. You become a profi in law, but also a very business-oriented person. As I said about internship, you have to study, you have to start searching for a job early. Don't wait until the last day. Be creative. Absolutely. I think that creativity is important for all professions, including legal profession. Have you heard about the term legal tech? How many of you heard about it? Please reply. Okay, Gabriela obviously heard about this, yeah. Anyone else? Legal tech? Yeah. So legal tech, it means that a lot of processes can be automized in the legal profession. And there is really a trend in actually substituting simple repetitive processes with automation. So roughly speaking, robots can take over our simple jobs and also legal jobs, which are very simple, repetitive, and those that can be automized. So make sure that you're being creative, that you differentiate yourself, because creativity is what will set us apart in the long run in the fight with the artificial intelligence. I also always advise, to attend, webinars, online classes, or summer schools. It's important, to never stop learning. Like lifelong learning is a big advantage for everyone, regardless of your profession, but also for lawyers. So continue education even after you graduate, even after you land your dream job. Your education didn't stop; it's just starting. You have to look professionally. This is a must for law firms. When you go to an interview, when you go to meet people in the law firm, it's important to look professionally. Dress code is a big deal still there. Writing and presentation skills, they are extremely important. Even if you will not speak in the court, if you're not a dispute resolution lawyer, still you will do a lot of writing and speaking, and make sure you polish those skills. And of course, be prepared to work long hours. And the last tip is be nice. This sounds like, well, common sense and easy, but I remember the Magic Circle, we had such an expression, people by people, which means that at the end of the day, it's a person making the decision to hire this law firm or not. And the person makes this decision based on his experience interacting with people from this law firm. So these are not, robots making this decision. These are not some company's policies. There's still, this human element. There's this element of chemistry, and just, like, be nice. It helps you to work productively with your team, with clients, with partners, and so on. So let's have a quick quiz, whatever. Here I collected a few, characteristics, so which are very important if you want to work for a big law firm. Doesn't matter if it's a regional or international, Magic Circle, big law. Check, and I will read through them, and let's assign one to each of these points. So if it's something you feel you like doing, then give yourself 1. If not, then 0. And then just calculate. You don't have to share, just for you to understand. If you have more than half of it, then well, you're probably the right fit for big law firm if you continue studying hard and working hard to get an internship there. So you like to work under tough deadlines. That's self-explanatory, right? Some people like this rush of adrenaline, or when they have to do something last minute. They have lots of work to do. If you like to work on tough deadlines, give yourself 1 point. You are stress resistant, so you are not scared or you're not demotivated if a partner is screaming at you or a client writes you angry emails. You can cope with stress and you can continue working no matter what's going on around you. You can set a boundary between work and home. So you have this, I wouldn't say clear, because work-life balance is now very difficult with digitalization. We all, now we all work from home and we'll continue doing so. But it's still important, to be able to just, switch off when you get home or when, your day is finished, to just try to switch off and not always take your working problems home. So if you can do it, if you can set this boundary, this border between work and home, then you have good chances to advance at a big law firm. Another point, next point is a little funny. You don't need a lot of sleep. To be honest, this is the point that my fellow lawyer came up with, my former colleague from the Magic Circle. I asked them, what would you recommend? What is actually important to have a good career in a big law firm? And this is something that they said, well, some people don't require that much sleep, and this is a big advantage, which means that they can work more, or they can work long hours. So if you are somebody who doesn't need a lot of sleep, then I'll give yourself 1 point. Do you like to solve other people's problems? Ask yourself, do you like to help others solve the issues, take their pain? If yes, then well, I think you will have fun working on big deals. You like networking and meeting new people, and it's extremely important, especially for those who are on the partner track. It's important to socialize. As they say, never have lunch alone. Usually, partners in Magic Circle law firms, they indeed never had lunch alone. They used every lunch as a business lunch. They were meeting clients, potential clients, their colleagues, other people. So I could rarely saw anyone, any partner with a chance having lunch alone. And then, yes, you're really smart. This sounds, again, as a common sense. It's usually lawyers are smart people. But if you're like really legal smart, then you have good chances of getting into a big law firm. You're willing to play by the firm's rules. That's what I said, that in big law firms, you have procedures, you have templates that you have to follow. And if you like doing this, if you can adhere to this standards, then it'll be good for you. And of course, you can keep secrets. You'll be working with confidential information. You will have to solve other people's problems, very important ones, and it's important that you keep it all to yourself. Here, as you see, there's a link to an interesting quiz. It's a more actually entertaining quiz, but I found it interesting. It's on the lawyer portal, and there you can have this quiz and see which Magic Circle law firm fit you are. So just as an entertainment, later on you can do it. I will just post this link in the chat box. Yeah. Give me just a second and I will post it. You can do it later. You can do it on the weekend, or whatever you want. Okay. So you can have some fun and see So here's just some law firm wisdom I wanted to share with you. This is based on my observations. Also, these are, like famous expressions, famous law firm expressions. Some of them you probably even heard in films. At least one I know was said in the TV series. I don't know what was the first origin, whether they appeared in Magic Circle or other law firms, and then they were used in the film, or vice versa. I don't know, but anyway, I found that they really apply to the real life. I mean, this is really how it works. So as I said, your appearance is very important. In big law firms, for example, in Magisters, we had a big, such probably big book of corporate standards where everything was written down. All your dress codes, the colors which are acceptable, the colors which are not acceptable, how many buttons you can have on your jacket, if you're supposed to be wearing ties even in summer. So, I mean, the appearance is very important law firms. So just make sure that you look professional, especially if you go to an interview. That's your first impression. Work until you no longer have to introduce yourself. This is what some lawyers like to repeat. So work on your image, work with your deals, make your deals promote you and not you yourself. Don't raise your voice, improve your argument. That's also important. Don't just be loud, but basically improve your arguments. Focus on making yourself better, not on thinking that you are better. I think I heard it in one TV series about lawyers. How others see you is not important. How you see yourself is everything. Well, maybe not everything, but I think it's extremely important. Don't have dreams, have goals. Yes, it's very important. Not just dream and wish, but have clear goals, a clear plan, how you want to achieve those goals. And then, this is how they say sometimes American law firms, if you kind of sort of try, then you kind of sort of fail. So if you don't really work hard to do something, you'll probably not achieve it. So if you kind of try, but not really, then most probably it will not really bring some result. So make sure that you work hard on it. So, and this was, I found it very funny, and I decided to include it in my presentation because I think that working for a law firm is not just serious stuff. These are not just the strict rules that I told you about and this corporate standards, but there's always place for some fun and having a good time. So yeah, just wanted to include to show that there is always some fun in law firms. So, and we are almost approaching the end of my presentation. I'd like to share with you some important law firm vocabulary. These are, common phrases or words which are being used quite often, if not all the time in law firms. And I think it's just important, that you know those words. And when you go to an interview, you speak the same language. You understand when when HR person tells you, we have an eat what you kill approach. And if you don't know it, it will be difficult for you to understand what the HR manager means. So yeah, eat what you kill, exactly. I don't know, you found it funny. It's been used very often in law firms. So make sure that you I just want to share with you, what all those words mean. But next time when you go to an interview, you can be on the same level with experienced lawyers. Partner track. This means that the lawyer is they say this lawyer is in a partner track. It means that this lawyer is moving to become a partner. In different companies, in different law firms, it means different lengths of this process, different steps that the lawyer has to follow. But lawyer in a partner track means that this lawyer will make a partner eventually. Of course, if he or she doesn't fail. Secondments. This is when a lawyer from a law firm temporarily joins an in-house legal team of a client, and helps them on some project or with their routine work. So the person goes temporarily, helps, gets experience, sees it from the inside, so how the company works, and then goes back to his or her law firm, then with additional knowledge and with additional experience. Sometimes you can go on secondment to different law firms. For example, when I was in Magisters, we had some lawyers who went on secondment to Freshfields. In Russia, in Russia it's being practiced in Russia as well. In Russian, you mean по-русски как? Secondment. We always said in Magisters, we always said на secondmente. Interesting. Maybe somebody can actually say this, because in Magisters, although it was a regional law firm, we used English in our internal communication. All our presentations, HR policies, they were all in English. Maybe somebody knows how to say it in proper Russian and not secondment. Feel free, guys. If you know it, really, don't be shy. Write it down, because I know it only as secondment. And so we had lawyers from Kiev who went to London, and they wanted to comment with Freshfields. And it was really an amazing experience. They were extremely happy because, they got experience in the Magic Circle law firm. And then they came back and they were superstars. So then there are equity and non-equity partners. Equity, this is a partial owner of the firm, a partner who receives, part of the revenues. And there is a non-equity partner. So partner who the majority of his salary, so more than 50% of his salary is fixed. And only partially he's linked to the revenue, or sometimes not at all. Sometimes non-equity partner can just have a fixed salary. But equity partner means that this is a part owner of the firm. Then eat what you kill. That's what Alena found funny. Eat what you kill means that, your salary depends on how much work you bill, how much work you bring in. So the more you work, the more you get. Then there are fee earners and non-fee earners. And this is always a big deal in law firms, because you have fee earners. This is those people who, mostly lawyers, of course, those who bring money to the firm, those who bill their hours directly to the client. And then there is, like admin staff who don't earn this money directly, but who help lawyers to earn the money. And this is, human resources, public relations, marketing, communications. Business development is somewhere in between. We as business developers, we like to think that we're fee earners as well, because we also bring work, because we connect lawyers with clients. But since business development does not bill these hours directly to the client, they're sometimes not being considered fee earners. So fee earners are those who bring money to the firm, lawyers, and non-fee earners. This has support functions like HR, PR, communications, who help lawyers. So then there's such an important word like pitch. How many of you know this word actually from other industries? A pitch. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, from hackathons. Yeah, that's right. Elevator pitch, right, Gabriela? You probably mean also an elevator pitch. When you have to be elevator pitch, something. Well, you have to formulate your mission, your project into, I don't know, 1 or 2 sentences, like as if you were going in the elevator with your potential investor, with your future business partner, and you have, you just have, 10 seconds to say this, to say, what company you are, what are the advantages, what are your USPs. For lawyers, pitch is more of a document. This is a document that you send to your clients. Usually it has to be very nicely formatted. It must look professional. It must be a selling document. So it must be interesting for the client as well, informative and interesting and nice to look at, so to say. So pitch is a document, a presentation. Mostly it's a PowerPoint or other formats of presentation that the company prepares, law firm prepares for a potential client, or for existing client if the company wants to get additional work from this client. So you usually business development makes it very nicely, the partner approves, and then it's being sent or brought as a hard copy to the client. So lockstep, this is being used. So lockstep means that your salary depends on how long you've been with the company, so on your seniority within the organization. Lock stop salary does not depend like it what you kill doesn't. It might depend a little bit, but mostly it depends only on how long you've been with the company. Those that have been many years, they're usually rewarded for this. And then there's also very important words which you have to know as future lawyers: billable and billables or billable hours. Some call them just billables, some call them billable hours. Do you guys know what it is? Any of you came across this term? So billable hours, these are the hours that are being paid by the client. So lawyers spend, I know, 10 hours working on this particular contract or on this particular transaction. And then they write those in their timesheets. And this means that this 10 hours, they must be paid by the client according to the fee structure that the company has. So billables, these are the hours that lawyers get paid by their clients. And there's also such a rule in international law firms. A little funny. It's of course informal, but a lot of lawyers saying, you know, ABB, always be billing. So means always be productive. Always, if you're working, then make sure you know you work on the client deal, and be productive. You know, be profitable. So I'm ABBing, some are saying, you know, or are you ABBing? So this is like an informal term in some law firms. Or as a wisdom, you know, always be billing. And yeah, this is no, I skipped this. And this is just an illustration, you know, that like two cats hunting for mouse, and they say, well, if we were lawyers, this would be billable hours. So make sure that all the time you spend, even just hunting for a client, this can be billable hours. So I think this brings me to the end of my presentation. And if you have any questions now or later, you can ask them now. You can write me. Here are my contacts. I'm going to write me. Did you mean some lawyers who went to the PR marketing or HR function and stopped their lawyers' responsibilities? I met partners who became, you know, who had more HR responsibilities or PR. You know, they were responsible. They were still partners. They were still lawyers, so they did not stop their legal profession, but they were overseeing, you know, like the PR function. They were approving press releases. They were very often commenting to the press. They went to press conferences. So yeah, I saw lawyers who had taken more responsibilities from the admin staff. If I know about lawyers who stopped their legal practice altogether, yes, I know one lawyer. Yeah, I know a few lawyers actually in London who became business development directors. They stopped their legal practice and they became business development in big law firms. Yeah. So if you like this idea, I think it's a good one. Any more questions, anyone? Any questions? Let's see how our poll changed. I'm just curious. Thank you, Gabriela. Thank you. I just wanted to see if our results change. So we have 5 votes. 5 people want to work for law firm. Okay, great. The majority wants to go to law firms. Very good. Thank you, everyone. I think I'm done. Again, if you have any questions, maybe later on, write me. And as I said, I'm based in St. Petersburg, so we can have a chat if you want to. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. Okay. Bye bye. Bye bye.